Now you made it. The VC is really interested. He sent you a letter of intent. And he's saying, we'd like to do a due diligence. This is, again, getting crucial because there are some obstacles in this process. It's, in general, a good sign. However, the VC now is dedicating a lot of work to you, and you have to be very close in looking at what he does, that the due diligence is going to be really positive for you. And if he dedicates a lot of work to you, it also means that he really wants to see every piece of information of your company. And you should be prepared for that. You should be able to give him every piece of information, especially don't hide anything. So what is the VC looking at? Well, first of all, he's looking at your technology. He wants to make a technical due diligence. He tries to understand your technology. I mean, you might be surprised before that the VC is not really going into technical details. And that is especially astonishing for engineers, natural scientists, when they come up to the VC and the VC says, oh yeah, sounds great, let's do it. And you wonder, he's not asking about how it really works. Well, the reason for that is he doesn't understand how it really works. But he has people to understand that. And these guys do the technical due diligence. And one thing is really crucial. You have to be close to these guys. Because if they're able to understand the technology, due diligence. However, if your technology is really new, groundbreaking, if your financial model is new, that also might be difficult for those people. Second, the VC always does a financial due diligence. In general, he makes up his own Excel and tries to understand your numbers and makes up his own calculations, valuations, and so on. And he tries to understand especially your assumptions. Your assumptions, where you base your projections on, where you base your valuations on, and so on. He tries to understand whether you can make it with your assumption. And it is a question, for example, of consistency. Is it consistent, the number of customers you'd like to get and the number of personnel in marketing you have? Is it really consistent, or is there a big gap between that? This is why the VC tries to understand, not only understand your model, your Excel. Normally he tries to build his own Excel in order to get to the same results. And if he doesn't get to, that's some questions he's going to ask to you. Next thing is tax. He tries to understand what was happening in the future. He tries to prevent tax liabilities, for sure. He puts money into your company. He doesn't want that money go to the state because you have to pay taxes for that. And then they make an economic analysis, that's number 4. And it is really important that the VC, if he does the economic due diligence, understands your business model. Is able to understand, it's not the VC, it might be other people doing that for him, sometimes the VC by himself. If it's a lawyer who's doing that, that might be a problem. So again, you want to be really close to those guys in order to understand what they're doing, and they don't get something wrong which brings the VC on the wrong track. Legal due diligence, normally nothing happens in a legal due diligence, but 1 out of 50 cases, the VC or the lawyers find something. And again, it's important to look who are the lawyers doing the legal due diligence, because some lawyers, they have a DNA of, if we cost money, we have to find something. That's what you don't want. You want to go through that. You have to show them all the contracts. However, you don't want him to look into the contracts in order to find something which might be a problem. At the very end, it's not a problem. And last one is the whole environment. I mean, the VC has to understand that you're in the right timing, you're in the right place, and so on, that the environment for your company is right in order to execute his own business model. So these are the 6 areas after due diligence. And again, be close to those 6 areas. And not only that, also be prepared. Be prepared to have all the papers ready for the due diligence process, especially the contracts you made between you and the co-founders and previous investors. Honestly, they will always look into those contracts and they might want to change those contracts. So you also have to prepare previous investors to that. And if you have really crucial or astonishing contracts between you and co-founders, because some gets a lot more shares and some less, they will ask for why is that the case and so on. The contracts between you and your customers and suppliers. So you have to have a stable basis for doing your business. And besides that, financial statements, account receipts, and so on. So all the papers, all the bookkeeping has to be in its place, has to be right. And also the technical documentations, environment standards, and so on. VCs hate surprises in these processes. So be prepared with all the papers, try to build a data room for that, and the VC can go into that data room. That's not necessarily a physical space, but he goes into that and he tries to understand whether there are no surprises, whether it's really good to do an investment. Because if the VC is that stage, he wants to invest. Otherwise, he wouldn't spend all the money. And now the papers have to be right. If there's a problem with the papers, don't try to hide it, because they will find it. They know what papers are necessary. And they probably put some guarantees in the contract that you showed all the papers. So if you hide anything, they can change their mind later on, which you really don't want. So don't hide anything. Try to be prepared, have a data room ready, and be very, very close to that due diligence process. And then there's no surprise. If there's no surprise, you probably get the term sheet.